I was in Europe the past like 2.5 weeks, and it was funny because we're traveling around to all these different countries, and in Europe, obviously some people speak English, some people don't, but and when they do speak English, it doesn't sound like American English, and even American English, it's different for each state. Like we had people on the trip from obviously from California, like myself, northern, NorCal and SoCal, but also people from Florida, Boston, New Jersey, New York, Seattle, Texas, Hawaii, just all over the place, uh, Michigan, Indiana, and all that stuff. But and so we all have different accents. But when we're going abroad, sometimes we'll go to like Italy or something, or France, and they'll speak English, and it's like, wow, they either, we can tell they have an accent, but some people, like I think we were in Netherlands or something, in Amsterdam, and we heard this like barista lady, and she sounded like an American. Like her accent wasn't very, um, I don't know, Dutch or whatever, and it sounded, it sounded very closely to how we speak. And one of the girls in my group was like, "Wow, you don't have an accent. Like, where are you? Are you from here, or did you live in the States or something?" And I thought it was interesting because it's like, to say that someone else has an accent, is it's a it's an it's a weird way to look at it, but um, I guess you don't realize that you have the accent, right? Because we think that we're the center of the universe and the way we speak is normal, is the default, and then everyone else is a deviation from that. So if you speak English and it doesn't sound like my English, then you have the accent. When in reality, we all have accents to each other. Does that make sense? It's like relative. So people have accents because relative to the way you're used to sounding, or the way you're more familiar with. So in reality, to that girl, who was in Amsterdam, who sounded American, to her, we had accents, right? She just was able to sound like us, or maybe she practiced, or I don't know what. Maybe she did live in the States, but and same thing with anywhere else. Like in London, I'm sure we sound like we have American accents. We sound like we have an accent, and they sound normal, right? I think it's just something to think about, that everyone has an accent. No one doesn't have an accent. An accent just means we speak the same language, but we all speak it differently, and we all have accents on that. So that's the thought of the day, is that more than just language, you're not the center of the world. Like, yeah, you are the center of your own world, right? That makes sense, but it's wrong. I feel like it's incorrect to say that someone else has an accent, because everyone has an accent. What's more correct to say is that your accent sounds like mine, or something like that, right? Or you have a accent that sounds like from this area or that area. But just thought of the day, just to being more self-aware of how, I guess, the language we use, because we know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that, hey, you sound like me, but to say you don't have an accent, do have an accent, is kind of wrong. So that's the thought of the day.